Hi, it is Ayikam time again. So today I like to share with you something very important for studying Wing Chun or internal arts or Qigong. This is the most fundamental basic you need to know if you want to properly study Wing Chun or Qigong or internal art. So, the first thing we need to understand, the so-called Southern Shaolin, it is not really a Shaolin or any kind of Buddhism's teaching place or monastery. It is not. Southern Shaolin is actually a nickname of the anti-Qing group. So it is a political group. It has its political agenda. Okay. So anything, any art, get into a political group, it become a tool to achieve the political agenda. And since it is a political group, it has its own management style. Thus, you can see a lot of culture or practice like you can only baisi to this guy and you cannot baisi to the second teacher. All kind of restrictions. Is it really Chinese culture is like that? Not necessary. You look at the Zen monk in the Tang Dynasty or other dynasty, they are encouraged to go study with other monks. Okay? So what today we see in Wing Chun's, in Chinese martial arts, in some kind of Qigong and so forth, it is a lot of coloring of this political group. And because of the coloring, it distorts the art. It distorts the facts, the truth of the arts. No different with Wing Chun. Wing Chun get to the red boat, is on the hand of the political group. So the art Xiu Lim Tao get there, and it changed, of course, because it is become political tools for somebody. So we need to be careful on all this so-called Mui, Gypsy, all this red boat story. Okay, a lot of this thing is made up. For example, Mui. You can find a dozen Mui, which is the founder of different Chinese martial arts. Well, is that true that there's a Mui in Fujian, there's a Mui in Canton, there's a Mui in Sichuan, all over the place? You know, that is just a martial art story character. Okay, so we need to know that there's a difference between martial art technology or martial art story or martial art story character. They are different. So if we want to talk martial arts in Western sense, actually it is about martial art technology in the Chinese sense. It is about technology. Like I'm talking about this, the Army 29, the troop army which is used to ambush the Japanese invasions army. It is about technology. The key is, number one is the one has to be fearless and courage to do the job. The second is one have to have the strength, because the broadsword is heavy and you need to use a two-hand handle type of strength. It's not a single arm type. So that's strength. The third is the technology, the techniques. And they have only about 40 techniques, and 4 of them is the major techniques. And that's designed actually towards counter the Japanese samurai sword. And then only the last one is the Kung Fu, meaning that how long you practice. Of course, if you practice longer, you will be more skillful. This is what it is on the Chinese martial technology. If we take away the strength part, we take away the technology part, then you don't have the Chinese martial technology. You don't have it. Kung Fu doesn't do anything. Why? One couldn't even do Kung Fu. One couldn't even develop Kung Fu without technology and without the way of how to use the strength in the particular style or the particular concept. Okay. So now the confusions out in the public these days is the confuse of Shaolin with the political group, confused of the martial story, martial philosophy with the martial technology, which is the real deal. Okay? We can go sit down, argue about Mui, create this art, that art, until the end of the world. It's not going to do any good to find out what is the martial technology. We can sit down here and, like I saw in Wing Chun forum talking about did Leong Zhan pass the full Wing Chun to Zhan Hua Sun? Is Zhan Hua Sun's Wing Chun is Wang Chun? Is Yip Man Wing Chun is mostly Wang Chun? We can go through all those discussions years and years until the end of the day. It's not going to solve anything but create problem. And to discuss that doesn't make one an expert. That is only get one into what? Get one to screw up the Wing Chun, the art of the Wing Chun, or the technology of Wing Chun. Because what we want today is the technology of Wing Chun. Anti Qing is already far 100 years ago. There's no Qing today. Okay? But today we face a society that we need to live in a positive and constructive way. Okay? So that we need to know this is the environment, the conditions of the world is different, this different era. So if we want to talk about martial technology of Wing Chun, then stick with the martial technology of Wing Chun, get scientific to it, because everything has to be scientific in order to make it work. Instead of getting into this martial stories or martial story character argument debating, it really doesn't solve anything but create problem. Okay? Now, saying that, we need to be careful in this day, is so-called information's era. People tend to think that if they read something, they know something, then they know the thing. Okay? And you can see in Wing Chun world or even other Chinese martial art world in the West that people can claim to be expert and written all kind of books in Zen or anything, or martial philosophy, but actually that guy is not even knowing anything, but just reading book, replica, and then speculate with ideas. So why do I say that the guy don't know anything? This is a concept you need to know if you really want to study the Chinese martial art or martial technology, to be specific, the Qigong, the Zen, the Tao, to get a real result. So in Chinese, the real guy who know, or the real guy who understand the art, always have a different type of 见地. 见 meaning view, 地 meaning ground. So what does that mean? Translate to today's words. 见地 means the experience ground. Okay? So when people read something, or say for example the ancient Zen monk go from one place to the other master of the Zen, what they are verifying is the 见地, the experience ground. It's not about talk theory, gather information. That's why you say that the Zen monk say, burn the sutra, burn the Buddhist sutra, burn the Buddha's teaching. Because what they want is 见地, okay, or the experience ground. Now, so what is experience ground? It's actually very simple. For example, if we have a 100 storage building, okay, if we go up to every storage, we look around, we feel around, and we go up to the 100 storage. We stand in the roof of the 100 storage building. We feel the wind. We saw all those things. That means you have we have the experience ground of the 100th floor. Okay, 100 storage, 100 floor. Every floor we know what it is exactly because we were there. Okay. Now, that is different, very different than the guy who watch videos taking from this 100th floor. Okay? So the guy who watch video taking from this 100th floor, that is just get some information. He doesn't have the 见地, he doesn't have the experience ground because he really doesn't know what really happened up there in the 100th floor. Well, he can speculate, and he can actually mix the first floor up to 100th floor and come up with some kind of ridiculous stuff. He thinks he's correct, but he have no 见地. He do not have the experience ground, so he cannot see. Okay, so the Zen monk, when they get from one monastery to another monastery, they want their experience ground to be verified, or they want to check their own experience ground, because in Buddhism there are 53 states of experience ground. Okay, so one need to have that experience ground if one already attained or accomplished that state. Now, today, many people who have certificate have no idea of this. A very obvious example is this. What Grandmaster Yip Man presented in his interview in 1972 is Grandmaster Yip Man's experience ground. Unless you are there, or you're close to it, or you're above it, you don't know what he's talking about. For example, if you have been in the 100 storage building, the top floor, you're talking about wind. And the guy who watched the movie or video, oh yeah, I know this building, 100 floor, I know all this thing. And then when people talk about wind, he said, huh? Wind? What wind? Okay? And then the guy who in the 100th floor have experience start to talk about what? He can talk about rain, can talk about cloud, he can talk about foggy. The guy who watched the video have no clue at all. So recently all this Wing Chun, Wang Chun stuff, W-E-N-G, W-I-N-G stuff. You know what the best one? It's based on people who have never go up to the 100th floor and keeping thinking they are expert in the thing, and then make all kinds of speculations. And then even worse, people take this speculation, say for example, people who never go to 100th floor, never go up there, make some speculations, and somebody follow that, okay, to questions and make even more speculation on top of the speculations. Now, this issue in the Srangama Sutta, the very important key Srangama Sutta in the Chinese Buddhism and in Buddhism about developing the samadhi, is saying this. It says, 自心起自心，非幻成幻法. So it means what? It means that you use your own mind or your own thought to grasp your own thought. There is no elusive, now you create your own illusion. That's exactly what it is. We have no idea what is in the 100th floor because we've never been there. And by just watching some YouTubes, we think we are there. And then we start to get our idea and our thought, and we grow, speculate on that. That's what it is. 自心起自心，非幻成幻法. That's the start, the beginning of illusion or mara. Okay? So enlightenment means one be able to see through this. Say, wait a minute. This is not 100th floor. This is what your thought is. And that's why in the Zen scripture, if you read it, it said that if you open your mouth, you're already wrong. Why is it saying that way? It is applied to the guy who have never in 100th floor. He can open his mouth, talk as much. But the minute he opened his mouth, talk about the 100th floor, to the guy who already in 100th floor, he said, man, this guy really do not know what he is talking about, and he never been there. Okay? So this Jian-Di is very important concept. Without the experience, you will not have the experience ground, and all Sifu who you want to learn with is the people with Jian-Di, with the experience and with the experience ground. They have experience, they have the experience ground or the view ground. Okay, experience ground equal to view ground. Otherwise, they will not be able to tell you what it is. So all this, Weng Chun, Wing Chun, do they have any experience ground? No. Why? You look at them. If they don't even know what is the Mai San Twin Ta or sticking body short strike for past 40 years, which is the basic of Wing Chun Twin, that's very similar to they never go up to the 100th floor. They don't even know there's wind there, there's raining there, or there's sunshine there. Because they just watch YouTube. Okay? So that is saying that that is never attained and never accomplished. Okay? So this is the teaching of the Chinese. So the teaching of Buddha saying that when you are experienced, you see things like an apple in your palm, in your hand. Is that clear? Okay? So unless one can see the thing as an apple in one's hand, one really don't know. Okay? So, the first thing just now I share with you is Southern Shaolin is a political group. Let's separate it with the teaching of Wing Chun technology. Okay, The second thing is there is martial technology, martial philosophy, martial stories, character. Let's isolate that. What we want to know in education is exactly what is what. So we know what are we talking about. And if we want to get scientific, we want to really study the art, let's get into the technology, not in all those, oh, today you say, Jisim create the Wing Chun. Tomorrow you say, no, it's Mui. But can anybody tell me when these two people exist? Is it 1700, 1800? Or today? You read Chinese history. Jisim can be in the history for what? 100 something years. Mui can appear in different place in the lifespan more than human being. You're going to argue with that? Okay, so that's number one. The second thing, one has to have experience ground, the Jiandi, in order to have the Kung Fu. If you have the Kung Fu, you have the Jiandi. You have the Jiandi, you have the Kung Fu. It's not that piece of certificate, or who is my teacher, or what is my last name. It doesn't matter. Okay? It is the Jiandi which is matter. The contributions of a great master is on his Jiandi, because he's reached that high level that he can see things. For example, Lord Buddha, okay, he saw it. On the other hand, for example, Sir Isaac Newton, he see it, he know it, okay. So all like Tesla has, and a lot of people in the Silicon Valley. For example, the CEO of Apple, they have that. Otherwise, they will not be able to produce iPhone, those things. Okay, it is not just like, oh yeah, I have a PhD too. I have a PhD in marketing, in electrical engineering, and I'm as great as Steve Jobs. No, you can't. He has his Jiandi, which I don't have. Even though I can have 10 PhD. Okay? So make this clear. Now the third thing I like to tell you is, or share with you, is something extremely important. And I like to clear it up today once for all. That's about the Yiji Kamyongma. The details of the Yiji Kamyongma I have put in the two books, the two textbooks I wrote, and then many of the YouTube in this channel. However, today I want to open up everything for the beginning, so you'll be able to see the technology, to have the experience ground, and you know the directions, how to do it properly, and the level. Otherwise, it's a kiss of death. Everybody can sit down there and argue, but go nowhere. It's been decades like this. Seriously, if you look at Wing Chun's history, it is at least 100 years already is in this kind of state. Okay, it is a mess. So why do I decide to make this education stuff and release and share all these things? It's because in May, my kid graduated in this New York Polytech, now is the NYU, part of NYU. So I was sitting in the commencement, and NYU at that time is, I think, Brooklyn Poly was created or started in 1840s, 1850s. I was sitting down there and said, what the heck's going on here? You see, this NYU Engineering School of Tandon is still here and grow and create so many good people for the society since 1840s, 1850s. So what happened to Wing Chun? Starting almost the same time in the Red Board. Where are we? Are we going to get wiped out in 10 years? Totally everybody go become a philosopher and I have no idea what this Wing Chun is? So that our older generation, like Ip Man generations, those their blood and sweat is all wasted. That's the reason why I want to share all this thing. Otherwise, what you call this advanced art, there's no advance at all. As we can see, the university stood until today, every year produce good people, contribute positively to the society, to the world, to the humankind. What do we do? Sitting down there, argue whose grandmaster is the best, who is the top fighter, who is the #1 fighter? Come on, does it exist in the real world? So today I'd like to share with you this Yiji Kamyongma. And this is how it is, okay? The first thing of Yiji Kamyongma is one need to know how to stand properly, because Yiji Kamyongma is the platform of the flexible body of Wing Chun technology. So Yiji Kamyongma is a platform, okay? In this Yiji Kamyongma platform of the development, there are 3 levels. The first level is you got to know your body. The second level is, in my terms, or my terminology today, you need to be able to handle the 7 balls. The third level is the handle of the 6-13-3. You have 6 core elements there, you need to be able to handle every one of them. Okay? So this is, the material is ancient, but I'm using today's language and scientifically I want to show you what it is. Okay? The first thing is one need to know one's body function. One do not want to create problem even before it starts. Okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is one need to zoom in to the 7 balls, or the 7 locations of the body. The third is one to get into the details of the 6 core elements. So one be able to handle it, because bottom line is we want mobility of this body. We want a flexible body so we can use it. Okay? Now, the first thing, we need to know the body. And we need to start with the body, which is not, we create problem there. Okay? For example, for hundreds of years, people say Yiji Kamyongma, you stand this way. Okay? Now let's look at this scientifically. When you stand there, what happens? Is that help your mobility? What does it do? Now, I give you the answer. This is problem. This is problem. This is problem. Because human body do not function that way. You force it. If you do it that way, that means you limit your own mobility and your body function is not going to be natural. Meaning, nature meaning effortless. Effortless meaning that you do not have to brute force it. So how is it the real Yi Kam Yong Ma stance? Well, if you look at the Yi Kam Xiu Lim Tao Kui, it said that equal shoulder stand. Okay, if you look at Mei Se Zhuang writing by Zhou Qianchuan so forth, it said that this finger, the toe point inward a little bit, so that the qi and so forth can flow. Is that true? Today I want to tell you, no, that's not true. So you say, but that is what book wrote. The classical said, the Quid said. I said, yes. Yi Kam King Quid say equal shoulder stand. Zhou Qianchuan of in the 1950 translated as the what do you call it? The toe pointing inward. Do we know what really Yi Kam do? Do we know what really the Mei Se Zhuang developer mean? I can listen to the Zhou Qianchuan for years. You can do that too. Somebody. But we want to know that is not the fact. With today's science, we know. Yi Kam Yong Ma has to stand this way. The feet like this. Okay? Why? Because only this equal shoulder stand with this feet a little bit. Because only this way, this side and this side are muscle. All muscle can loosen up. And this knee can properly function. So, how to know what is the best thing, proper way, or what is according to the body? Simple. You do a slight air squat. You feel comfortable down in this lower forearm or the lower part of the body. That is the proper thing you want to do. So you stand there, no stress, or very minimum stress. Do it, try it. Okay? When you stand there, your weight is not going to stretch your knee. You're going to use this type of muscle. It's like the air squat, right? It's the air squat. Okay? So it is air squat stuff. Okay? Look at the air squat thing. So, okay. So it has to be like that. The minute you do this, you squat down, heavy here like hell already. Okay? The minute you do this place is stuck. That tells us this type of stuff and this type of stuff is not going to give you mobility. In fact, when you're holding there, you are making your body in balance. But if you do this, like the thing you can do in I squat, you can stand there. You can feel that the lower part of the body or the lower four walls are loosening up. This muscle, this muscle, this muscle, this muscle, this muscle loosening up. And you, okay? And due to your breathing, it's going to fluctuate a little bit. Okay? So this is the below body. The lower part of the thing, the below body. If you do this, you'll never get the below body because this is really stuck. If you do this, bigger stance to have more power, you get this stuck. Especially people usually, this angle is like climb like this crazy, stuck. So it has to be like this. Only like this, it be able to do really smooth in the handling, effortless, only effortless physical body. The blood circulations, the breathing, the qi circulation will be proper. So, this lower part, if it's not taken care of, you got a problem. You can train 1,000 years, it's not going to get nowhere. The body cannot be mobile. Okay? Now, one has to go stand there and experiment, observe, and keeping improve or fine tune it until one practically be able to sleep standing without this feel stress, this feel stress. No, just sleep there. And breathing is here. One can do that. That's the first step. Okay? Make sure the body, we don't do something to screw it. That's the first thing. The second level is go to each bowls of the 7 bowls to see if there is any tensions or holding or something, adjust it. The third level will be you go to the 6 core element in details. Is that open? Okay. How is the mind? How is the breathing? Have the chi flow? How is the momentum handling, the strength handling? You go through that. Now, at every level, you have different experience ground, JND. For example, Ichikammyama need to be standing like this. People can argue with you, stand this or this way. You stand this. Whatever people say, you don't get moved. Why? Because you know. They can argue the hell whatever they want. You know that they lock their body, they are hindrance their body to work properly. Okay? That's called Jenti. So we don't just follow somebody say, oh yeah, you know, he said that this way or that way, it has to be climb this and do this, do this. You don't follow it, you know what exactly it is. And this is scientific. It's your body. Okay? Now, there are a lot of people who practice in so-called martial arts, internal martial arts. The reason they cannot teach is because they never go through this. They don't have the JNT. That means one do not know it. One will not be able to create a quality, repetitive result. Okay? So Ichikammyama is that's the first thing. On the rest, there's a whole bunch of details in my 2 books. But you know what? Don't do it. You cannot jump from the first ground to the 3rd level. There's a lot of things. Like for example, I'm talking about the chi flow or the force flow. Can everybody do it? No. Unless one get to that level, almost get level, then one can train into it. Otherwise, it's useless. So we talk about footwork, the stick body, short strike footwork. If we're keeping standing this way, your body is not going to move that, be able to do the job for the moving of the footwork. If you don't have the handling of the 7 bowl, when you go close, you will not be able to handle the reaction force or action force. So it's not like, oh yeah, because I think this way, I have the information, I know it. Or because I practice some internal art, I know it. Or because the body has to have this form, that shape, and the mind power, I know it. No, it cannot be. And this is based on what? Qigong is training this way. Internal art is training this way. That is what is the training in the ancient China. In today, it's said it's scientific. The issue is that they usually don't talk about this. Only to their kid, their son-in-law, they teach it. The rest, they don't teach. And then, so what happens is that if somebody died on the link, all this key point missing, then you lost the art. Like the Zen, Zen today, people don't really get into enlightenment. They just have a certificate, say, oh yeah, you practice this. In the ancient, it's not. One need to be verified one's experienced ground. And we know exactly where it is. Okay? So this is to share with you today. I know this is a long video. but this is very important one. Without this, we really don't know where to start. So this is for you today.